Well, they're probably not wrong.
I don't know. I love sports. That's true.
That's a knock against Star Wars.
That's a bad knock. It's a great franchise.
It is not a great franchise.
It's better than most.
And to think that all
That's a
three
low
of them,
bar.
all three of them watch
For
Moana.
Star Wars or most franchises?
You said most franchises. That's a low bar to say it's better than most franchises. Like,
Oh, it is.
Wendy's on the Bypass is part of a franchise.
Well, yeah, we're talking about
Fast and
cinematic
Furious.
franchises, though. Not franchises with movies.
Yeah, Fast and Furious is another franchise.
Yeah.
We're getting off
Going
point.
And then
strong.
other than that,
Can we go?
Saw
so,
Yeah?
coming out.
no, it keeps coming out, but I wouldn't say it's going strong.
It's going strong.
I don't know about it. Anyways,
It's limping.
so I guess we don't clap sync, but 1, 2, 3, clap sync. Killing it. Welcome to a definitely, hopefully not itchy episode of the Effin' Movie Podcast. We're your hosts, Nathan, Pillows, Dylan, and Mason, and Price. Today,
I like how Pillows was introduced.
Yeah.
it is a character in this episode. Pillow, why are you here today?
Because we're here to talk about Jennifer's Body, the movie I picked.
Why are you sound so
Why
proud
did
of
you pick
yourself
this
about
movie?
this?
What is the
Yeah,
synopsis
yeah.
and why did you pick it?
Yeah.
Synopsis of this movie would be, it starts out with a girl whose name is Needy, very on the nose, played by Amanda Seyfried, who's in a mental hospital for some reason. And we get that lovely, I bet you wonder how I got here kind of thing. So then it plays the rest of the movie where Needy, Amanda Seyfried, is really best friends with a girl named Jennifer, who's played by Megan Fox at the height of her prime. And basically about how Jennifer becomes a vampire.
Oh, she's possessed by a lower
She's
class
well,
demon.
She's a demon.
It's basically a vampire. It's the
That's
same
not-
kind of
That's like saying I Am Legend people were
Or
vampires. It's not exactly...
She's not sucking blood. She's eating people.
Yeah.
And
What?
she's walking around in daylight.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
she's-
None of the traits are.
It-
vampire.
Tomato.
It feels like it's going to be a vampire movie, but it's definitely demon.
Definitely a demon movie.
She gets possessed by a demon. She acts like a vampire, basically, and it's about all their relationship and what it means to be a teenager. I picked this movie because
Yeah.
I heard the Panic at the Disco's New Perspective. I saw the video and I was like, wonder where this is from. Heard it's from Jennifer's Body, and then one of my favorite movie reviewers said, like, you should actually check out this movie. It's actually pretty good. So,
Who is he?
watched it on
What's
an
his
airplane.
What's his name?
Chris Stuckman.
Oh yeah. I've
With
met
a
him before.
stick that man.
He's pretty good.
Is that foreshadowing your
Yeah.
thoughts on this movie?
Yeah, depending on the character, yeah.
Yeah.
Mason, you're in this movie. You should be happy. You have sex in this
You
movie.
mean Brad from Berkshire Being a Wallflower?
I don't know his name. I just know him as Mason.
Mm.
Which one was Mason?
The Needy's boyfriend.
Oh yeah. So
He has Motion
kind
City
one.
soundtrack, like
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. He's very soft-spoken, good person.
hold on. This movie. Okay. Here's a quick trivia because I didn't know if you got any queued
I
up.
have so much
But
trivia.
I got one you didn't plan for.
Probably not.
This movie shows nipples 3 times. Can you name them?
What? It has his
it's all
nipples.
The guys.
1. Yeah. Well, that's 1.
I'm sure it shows the lead singer's nipples.
Surprisingly, not
Dang.
his.
I don't know.
The football player guy.
Actually, also not his. His pants come down, but his shirt never goes down.
Huh.
Oh.
Ah, yeah. See, you think back and you're
That's
like, I guess
strange.
that's true.
Who?
Yeah.
His nipples,
Yeah.
the figurine in the anatomy room's nipples. There's the thing
Jesus.
there. And then the demon in the book on Jennifer's Body
Wow.
shows nipples.
Okay.
I like that trivia.
Why?
The old hook
I
face
never would have
singer.
got it.
Why I kept up with this, mainly because I would do a whole podcast about just this if I could.
Just the nudity.
Yeah, just the nudity on that. Like, whatever the parental check is, I'm the opposite. I'm here because I'm looking for it, not because I'm telling you to go away from it. But my big thing on this one is that this movie has an R rating. And for the life of me, I don't know why it needs it.
I don't either.
It
I don't
says
either.
fuck. It doesn't need that word. Sorry, there goes our money, this video.
It also
Semester.
Yeah.
it also isn't so
Yeah, right.
gory either.
It's not, right, it's not
not.
so
Yeah,
gore.
it's not that bad.
Like,
it's
the-
pretty tame.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure why this movie has an R, and I think, like, I'm not to, like, be on a Debbie Downer right off the cuff, but maybe one of my biggest gripes about this movie is it unnecessarily had an R rating, and it never felt like it did anything with it.
The only thing I can think of that would have merited that is back when this movie was made. I mean,
It was a lot of
like,
sexual.
well, I mean, Megan Fox and Amanda Seyfried have like
They make out for a little while just
they,
because
they show a lot.
They
Like, they
show,
show their
them
tongues.
making out,
Like their
but,
tongues playing with each other
sure,
and stuff.
but still that.
So
is
maybe because it was back in like what 07 or something like that.
7, yeah. But even then, I don't know because
I don't agree.
sexual influence is kind
What
of always
about
been in that
the
PG-13.
satanic stuff? Do you think that might have affected
Actually,
the
that
rating?
may have been it. It being a Satan ritual and the fact
Let's
that
see if I
our
can-
rating thing is based purely on a puritanical Christian group thing might have actually been the thing that put it over of all things. But
But just look at why it's like. I'm sure there's a listing of the reasons.
Yeah,
it
that's
got
what I was-
R.
like
That's what I was
what
going to.
I can see a little bit of a chicken before the egg discussion because once they have the R rating, I can see where they're like, well, we have a bunch of fucks
brings
now.
in a lot
like,
of people, yeah.
But frankly, at any point when they say fuck
Well,
in this movie, does it feel like it?
Sexuality, bloody violence, language, and brief drug use.
No, okay,
Nah.
so really the only
Look at-
red ones are violence,
Look
at-
gore, profanity, and frightening. And
Violence
okay,
and
profanity.
gore severe. Profanity severe.
No, they're none of. This is America, baby. Not
Frightening
even
and
in 07
intense
wasn't that
scenes
bad.
severe. That's ridiculous.
Alright, well anyways, there's no R
Anyways,
rating
so
in
that's
there, whatever.
my criticism on the R rating discussion. I don't know if this is a con or a pro, but watching this movie, so much of the teens' dialogue felt like it was written by ChatGPT. Like, did anybody else have that feeling they were watching this and it was just like
Oh, yeah.
all the lingo?
Loved it.
I've written down a lot of quotes if you want me to read them off to you.
Give me just two.
Like
Give me your
the-
top two.
Oh, top two?
Yeah.
Okay, one of them was said by Jennifer. She said, I have the police in my back pocket. I sexed a cadet, remember?
Yeah.
So she said she has the police just
Right,
because
this
she
is-
had sex
That
with
was
one of
also
them.
Chris Pratt randomly in this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She also said, one of the questions was, did you get the van number? I don't know, an 89 raper?
That actually is 89 Rapist, but that line is actually super funny.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that one hits.
And then two more is when Jennifer gets stabbed and she says, you got a tampon? Seems like you might be plugging. And then my personal favorite was when the band was about to sacrifice Jennifer. And it's like, we're an indie band having a hard time getting there. They say, Satan is our only option.
Yeah, yeah. This movie is actually not without its bangers. Like, so none of those lines are the ones I would say stick out to me as like the
Oh,
AI one. They're like,
love
I actually
them.
think those are the best lines in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Minus, there was only one missing, and that was the one where it was just Amanda Seyfried is like fighting with Megan Fox in the tail end. And she was just like, yeah, well, that was before when you were skinny and you didn't need laxatives. And I was watching this with Hannah, and Hannah quietly but definitely audibly gasped, like at how like hard that line.
Yeah, like,
And that put me over on that line. I was like, all right, that's pretty good.
And then the line that I told you all that sold me on this movie was after the fire, and J.K. Simmons is like, we can't let the fire win, and Jennifer's just like, it looks like you already
Already
did.
Yeah. But all of the Asian girl in the class, right? That one girl who's like a hardcore defendant of like
Oh,
Louisiana.
yeah.
That
The
one.
band.
Dude, every line that she said, and every line she said, and most of the teen lingo between Seyfried and Fox, all felt like it was like generated by a computer who had never talked to a teenager before, but had like somebody explained it to it, and it was like, I got it. Like,
That's why I love the dialogue in this movie, is because it's so campy. Like, it knows
So,
what it is.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. My issue with the movie wasn't that like it was just this dialogue or some of these little parts. It was like I felt like this movie was trying to be very campy, but then all of a sudden trying to be very like serious in its tone with the gore or with the actual visuals and like the cosmetics and stuff. Because like I could tell that this movie was trying to be kind of like a what do you always call like Thanksgiving? Like it knows what it's doing. It's like a
Horror parody?
yeah, almost like a parody on itself,
Yeah.
on the genre. I get
yeah.
that it was trying to do that, but it never leaned into that, and it didn't really lean serious
You don't think
either.
it leaned into that whenever she had the guy in the woods and all the animals started like coming up around?
That was random.
yeah.
That didn't make any sense. Period. It was just like she was
I think this movie knew what it
Snow
was.
White.
all the
yeah,
time.
like that was really weird. That just made me think of like South Park with all the like forest animals that are Satanists.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that one. Yeah,
Right.
Yep.
But if this is like a random, very old South Park reference, even in 07,
It
that would have
can't,
been
it
a
can't be a
reference.
South Park reference.
Then that would
Surely
be-
to God.
I don't know. This movie, I could see that
Oh,
director.
This movie does a lot of weird
For
stuff.
the director, what's the director's name on this while you're talking? Just
I
can
don't
you check
remember.
that? Because it was like I'm pretty sure it's a placeholder name. I think it's like an Alan Smithy, which for those who don't know is a name that directors and producers use whenever they don't want their name attached to the credit of the movie.
Karen Kusama.
Karen Kusama.
Yeah, I don't-
Isn't there the Oblo something in this list? Producer. directed or something like that.
Nope, it's Karen Kusama. She's done a bunch of other stuff too.
I don't trust her. Anyways, yeah, Mason, you were saying, sorry.
Yeah, but it felt like this movie was trying to be kind of tongue in cheek with that, but at the same time, like it was definitely still trying to drive the story along, and I mean, like with the Asian girl in the class, like you could tell because J.K. Simmons, which by the way was
That
probably
wig.
one of my least favorite characters in this movie. He was atrocious,
Yeah,
but
he was a wet noodle.
he was like,
That
oh
wig
yeah,
was
low
so
shoulder
funny.
was going to basically give away 3% of their profit.
Right.
And it was just like, come on, you can't.
Wow.
And she even says like, come on, guys, 3%.
Right.
What about the other 97?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, doesn't this seem a little crass?
And then the Asian girl's just like, they are angels.
One of my
Well, and then
favorite
defining
parts
crass as well.
about
Yeah.
this movie was how often Low Shoulder came back into the
Yeah.
system. They
played
kept playing
trees.
the same song.
Right. Through
Yeah.
the
I
through
will
the trees.
find you.
Yeah.
That was a
The most
major
generic
pro.
indie song.
I won't lie, like
I want that song.
Yeah,
The-
you are that song.
You
the
are
Panic
that
at the Disco
song.
song is the best song on the soundtrack.
100%.
That one is the next
Next
best song.
I agree.
I'm at the point now where that song is actually the best song.
It
on the
might
soundtrack.
be.
But no, it was the moment when they're sacrificing Jennifer, and then the whole
scene.
Jenny scene.
So
where
yeah,
Actually-
Mason was just quoting that.
100%.
Where she's like, well, I guess I gotta sacrifice you to the devil.
Yeah.
Wait.
Jenny. And then they just start murdering her to it. And frankly, I was like, okay, this movie's not gonna get much better than this, is it? And I was right. Like, it peaks pretty hard on that one moment. And I was just like, okay.
Well, there's definitely like a succubus kind of like
Yeah.
tempo to this too, right?
Yeah,
Like, she
yeah.
was like hypnotizing almost. She was glamoring, if you want to talk about vampires, but
Yeah.
like she was.
That's True Blood
Bringing it
reference.
in.
Nobody gets that now. We're old. But I got it.
Who watches True Blood?
True Blood is
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah, we watched like 5 seasons of that
Yes.
before
Disgusting.
Eric dies on top of a mountain. I stopped watching it.
Which I think we do need to get into the casting a little bit for this. Which before that, first of all, Blake Lively was considered before.
That would
Amanda
be
Seyfried or Megan
major
Fox?
For Megan Fox.
upgrade.
I would have.
I kind of like Megan Fox. more.
Megan Fox for this role, like for my
'Cause
money,
it's a real
I'd rather
like-
have Blake Lively, but for
She
the
looks
energy,
skankier, yes.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's like the
That's the
point.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, that
and
sounds
it's more
right.
like
Yeah,
the
that's
sex
fine.
appeal.
Blake Lively
thing.
would have been a worse casting. for
Which
this role.
did some interesting history on this movie. Like when it came out, like I don't know about you all, but I wasn't interested in it. Didn't hear anybody
Oh, I
talking
watched
about
it.
it. I just knew it was like a sexy movie. Like that's what.
That's why I
saw
watched
it
it,
as.
and I was disappointed then too.
And the way that they got this movie made was that scene where Jennifer's walking down the hallway with her belly shirt, like really sexy. That's the scene that they actually showed to Warner Brothers execs to get this movie made. Because this was right after Transformers, like the peak of Megan Fox.
Yeah, they're like,
so
if
like
we
they
do
just had to
this-
show her, and they were just like, "Oh, we're on board."
Yeah, that'll sell.
So later, when they were trying to get this movie marketed and everything, all they wanted to do was play up the sexuality of Megan Fox and not focus on like anything else on the movie, like the campiness, like the horror, like just pretty much how sexy she is, and that's it. Which that came to a head when apparently Warner Brothers executives came to the director and was like, "Hey, like to market this movie, we want to have Megan Fox do live chats with porn sites in order to market it." And the director apparently like put like a firm stop on it. It was like, we can't tell her that was being considered because that would be really messed up.
Well,
Which
if
is-
there's another movie with Elijah Wood. It's called like Open Window.
Yeah.
It was like a horror movie, and it had Skylar Grey, which is a porn actress. She was like the main star in it, but Elijah Wood is like a huge actor.
Like an
that's
actual real
That's
actor.
the Hobbit, right?
Yeah.
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 Frodo.
So like, I don't know. It just that only takes you so far, in my opinion, and that honestly speaks to the quality of the movie if you start to
Market
bring
it
that
that
stuff
way.
in, because that's just
Which
you
is
know
wh-
what you're gonna get.
Which is why the director wanted to stop that
Yeah.
because
Right.
they didn't want it to be pitched as like a softcore porn movie
No.
because that's not what this movie
Yeah.
is.
No, I mean a little, but you know.
There's a
right.
lot of tension between Needy and Jennifer. There's a lot of unexplored tension there.
unexplainable, by the way. Like, I don't understand their chemistry
this-
and why on earth they are even remotely friends.
Actually, this made the most sense to me.
I
possible.
actually get that too.
Yeah,
Uh.
because women and their teenagers are all bisexual, so when you have a best friend, it's all.
No, I'm not talking
That's
about
not what I
sexual
was going
tension.
for.
Oh,
No,
that's
I
what
was
it-
talking
well, that's
about
what
like,
it is.
why they're best friends. Like, why on earth,
Oh,
in this day and age, what are they, seniors?
Well, this is 07,
Well,
so
I mean,
this was
if you've
different
been
time.
friends since you were
They were
a
a
little
kid.
kid,
Yeah, even a kid.
You're in a small town.
You never had a shitty friend that you've had for a long time?
I definitely
Yeah,
have.
his name is.
Yeah. I've only known you like 5 years.
It's been a little bit longer than that.
6.
Yeah, there we go.
But yeah, it's just like they're best friends since kids. They've been in a small town.
Yeah.
I definitely get it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
They stick around for that, but I think they played up that idea of it being like,
She's
yeah, but they're a
secretly
shitty
wants
friend
her.
though,
Yeah.
and it's just like she's clearly just jealous of Amanda Seyfried. I'm gonna be scene of Amanda Seyfried. That's fair. But yeah, they have like that like extended makeout scene, and then they're just like, that was funny, tee, and then they just kind of like walk it off.
yeah.
And
And then all the explanation of everything. and
Right.
She
This
I don't know.
this movie has a really like, I'm not gonna say interesting, but this movie is just kind of like, anyways, here's some facts about the story. Like the way they tell it is
it
like
is wild.
very like secondary, like maybe even third to the movie. It's just kind of like, did we explain why Jennifer? Okay, let's just cue it in here.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I'll
yeah,
tell you
yeah.
one thing they don't really explain is why Needy has visions of
Yeah.
what Jennifer's up to.
Yes.
I know.
That is never
You know,
explained.
you know what it would
Yeah.
be in True Blood if you drink the
Oh, yeah,
blood.
if you
Oh
drink the
my
blood or something.
God.
And then you can sense their danger at least,
Yeah.
and you can sense their tension.
If I want to
And-
watch True Blood, I'll just watch some terrible, like,
Twilight?
plot-driven porn on Pornhub or
No.
something.
Oh, you could do that, I
I
guess.
mean, you could.
Or you could watch True Blood.
Yeah, or you could watch True Blood.
But that is
People on True
explained.
Blood are typically
and that
pretty much
is
super attractive.
and that's
yeah.
a a really important point that they missed. Which personally, I don't really care. I'm not in this movie for the plot,
I'm in
really.
for
What
But
what are you in it for?
But-
yeah.
but the biggest, like one of the biggest, longest scenes is when Jennifer is killing the emo kid, and it's like a very extended. That's probably the most like spooky part of the movie is when she's like
Mm.
killing him. But on the other side, it's like a montage going back and forth of Needy
getting
and
plowed by
Mason's
Mason.
clone
Yeah.
having like pretty expletive sex. You don't see anything, but like you see it going on.
Yeah.
And she's like having visions, like knowing what Jennifer's doing at the same time, and like
The weird orgasm fear thing, Mr.
yeah, which is really weird. And
Maybe
he was like,
that's part of my like not
Like, am I
understanding of
too
why
big?
they
yeah,
know
yeah.
each
And Mason's
other.
clone
Yeah.
said, "Am I too big?"
Yeah.
And he grins. He's like, ha ha.
Because there's parts where she's like terrified with it, and he's just kind of like,
Okay.
yeah. It's just like,
He's such an idiot. I loved him. I thought he was so stupid. Like him and Needy kind of break up, and then he's on the way to
Yeah.
the ball or whatever, walking through the spookiest like bit of
Going
walk
through the park,
everywhere.
where his mom said.
Then
He
Jennifer,
goes through the park.
then Jennifer just pops out and is like, "You want to have sex?" He's like, "I got my dick wet."
I actually really like that she was just like, didn't you hear me calling? He's like, you weren't calling. Like,
and she's like, "Huh?"
I'm a bit like, okay, I'm actually really annoyed with that one plot point thinking back on it. Like, Needy breaks up with him to, I guess, protect him, question mark. And then I'm
Definitely.
also like,
because
how-
Jennifer keeps showing interest in him.
Sure, but like, breaking up with him and not breaking up with, I think at
I
that
don't
point it's
think
like,
that,
it's
yeah, I
not
don't think
stopping
it-
anything.
Yeah, like I don't think that was a smart move on her
No,
part
I really feel like
anyway.
you kind of just keep him close if you want to keep an eye
No,
on
she
him,
was
but-
wanting to keep him away from Jennifer because Jennifer, like the only reason
Yeah,
Jennifer
she's
went
sniping
for the
everybody
emo
that
kid,
she's looking at.
she
but-
said no to the emo boy asking her out. He walked away, and Jennifer was like, "Oh, he asked you out before,
Right.
and you said no. Okay, I'm gonna go."
I know
for
what
it
she's
now."
doing, but at the same time, it's like, okay, she breaks up with him, and I'm still thinking, like, yeah, but that was still her boyfriend, like, and this was recent. I think it's a dumb reason. Like, I get, like, the idea they're going for, I just don't think it, like, I don't think it
Well,
executes
and
well.
they don't give you like a scene of her like telling Jennifer like, oh yeah, me and him split up,
Right.
or something.
Right,
Maybe,
right.
maybe
That
she
would've-
saw her MySpace
that maybe would've
status or
something.
something.
And they would have at that time. Right, and I guess the other part of that, too, is just that, like, and I know he's, like, disbelieving of, like, Needy telling him about, like, oh, she's a demon, like, a literal demon. She eats people.
Yeah.
But, like, she pops up out of nowhere. You're in the middle of the woods, and she's suddenly interested. And I'm kind of like, come on, bro. Like, the suspension of belief only goes so far for me, and I'm
But
like...
he's just that stupid horny.
I
teenager.
know.
No, it's
Yeah.
part of her glamour. Like she's
Oh, yeah,
doing
that's
this to the boys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
easily getting them.
Well, and I think that's a lot of what the movie is just like that like inescapable allure, I guess.
Yeah.
That Jennifer
Her
Megan
body.
Fox,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that she's supposed to represent. That's why she's picked to be that character.
Mm.
'Cause
Yeah.
at that time, she was
The
I
peak
mean,
of sexuality at
Yeah.
that time.
For
Yeah.
like 1 year of Transformers, she was peak sexuality, and then in 2008 we moved on to. I don't know, actually. I'll get back to you on that. I'll think
The
about it.
French girl. It's about the new Transformers girl that they replaced her with.
No.
Oh, okay, just kidding.
No, definitely not her.
That would have been too soon. Nobody. I don't remember who was that hot in 2008. I'll
Jessica
get back to you.
Alba, always.
Always true.
Oh, Jessica Alba.
Always true.
My awakening.
You said something about the cast earlier. Did you want to touch on that?
Oh yeah.
No, I like them. I like this movie. I think went for a tone and went with it the whole time. It was campy from start to finish. The movie starts with Needy Spartan kicking an orderly
They call me a
across
kicker.
the room.
Yeah.
They call me a kicker.
I'm the kicker.
It's in my chart.
And then they just ride it out, and it just keeps escalating in the goofiness all the way up throughout the movie. I mean, the boy band singing that song, and then even escalating even more whenever Jennifer gets stabbed, and that's when she says, like, you have a tampon, you look like you be plugging. And
Then all of a
just keeps
sudden,
even dumber.
Siegfried just like creating her way out of prison because she obtained the powers
Oh,
after she
yeah.
killed. Like,
Like, when
Apparently
did that
she got bit by a
happen?
demon.
Who explained that?
Because why not,
Well,
right?
She explains that.
She does.
Yeah,
she's-
while it happens.
Yeah, but also at that point it's kind of
No,
like.
it's like afterwards.
maybe
you know.
whenever she's reading the book or she's explaining it to the boyfriend or something.
I mean, I think she probably just started to feel it. You know, you
Yeah,
ever been bit by a
she
radioactive
just-
spider and then just be like, I think I can.
I think I
I'm
can
gonna
scale
web.
that wall.
I can do
Yeah. Right. They didn't need to give her a whole Peter Parker scene. Like,
I
it's,
think I'm gonna web.
yeah.
I'm gonna web.
Oh shoot! I'm gonna web.
a lot of those
Yeah.
references tonight.
Let's get into Fat Thin Perfectly Fit, which is a very funny segment to have for Jennifer's body.
Where they talk about weight a lot.
Yeah. Nathan.
That's pretty fit.
But is it Jennifer's body fit?
She said it fit.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, this movie doesn't really like wow me anywhere in particular, but I also don't. I don't know. I don't feel like it was wasting too much time. Like you had to have a few kills. Yeah, like it just basically everything that happened in this movie made sense. That to like build the arc of the story, everything that they did made sense to be
Good way to put
included.
it.
Sorry, Jen. I think you're a little chubby. This
Tell her.
movie's an hour 40, and if you told me this movie doesn't need to be just on that premise alone, I'm like, no. Like, it's somewhere between Jennifer killing the emo kid and Prom that I'm like, something needs to go here. We're doing something to mess around for too long.
Well, that's when Siegfried was basically just completely nuts, and like
Yeah.
everyone was like, "Man, you're just being a girl. You're just
Right.
crazy. You don't know what you're
You're
talking
PMSing.
about."
They
Yeah,
actually-
honestly, like,
They
well,
should-
everyone was against her from the get go. Like
Yeah.
even the whole
Yeah, they
class was
were.
against her from like the first kill, and they
They're
were just
like,
like,
you weren't even there. They're like, we were there.
We were there.
Well,
We're
at
there.
first they were they were really talking them up.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh man, you all survived.
The class turns on a
fire."
dime after
yeah,
one
they
meeting.
very quickly turned against them.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I guess that means that the emo band got the powers from the devil, even though they kind of screwed up the way that they did it.
I mean,
That's a good way to put it.
they're successful. by
Like,
this
should
point,
they
so-
have gotten those powers though?
Because she didn't really die.
Yeah.
She didn't really die, but she also wasn't a virgin.
She wasn't
even a
That was the
backdoor
whole-
virgin.
Yeah, like, that was
Yeah.
that was the whole source of the problem. So they did the ritual wrong. So why did they get
That's
powers?
another
But
quote
whatever.
that
I
we
mean,
didn't
it's
even think
well,
of.
no,
Yeah.
no need to nitpick.
I think, and then we'll get into Mason's thing. I think it's a monkey paw curse. Like they get the power, but the
Yeah.
monkey paw curls because Seyfried comes in, Needy comes for them at the end of the movie. So,
Yeah.
which I thank God it had that part. But anyways,
I agree with Nathan. Nothing stands out like a ton on this movie, but I do think it landed at its destination. It was a pretty quick and simple ride. It might have lingered on a thing or two here and there, but it didn't. I don't know. It wasn't terrible. I think as far as the fitness of the movie, it definitely could have lingered on to some of these parts that we're bringing up. We're like, well, why did they do this? Why did we do this? But then if they had added that, we would have been like, just leave me hanging. That's fine.
I think we're just going every other person because I actually agree with Dylan
Mm.
that I think I would like it's just a little bit like the only part I would take off is I've never liked the trope of movies kind of starting like towards the end of the story. I would much rather that beginning part where she starts out in the mental institution and just drop it. Just drop it or just like condense it very small into when she's actually in the mental institution at the end of the movie. But I don't think it was needed. I don't like the I bet you wonder how I got here thing, so I would have dropped that completely.
I will say, I do appreciate that the movie got straight into, like, the meat and potatoes of it, like, with the bar scene.
Yeah.
And, like, I
Yeah,
mean,
it
that
doesn't waste
fire
time.
happened.
And Chris
Right.
Pratt, I mean,
The bar
isn't
scene-
he so cool?
Yeah.
Drinking a beer at, like, 20 or something. I don't even know.
The bar scene felt like a better intro to this movie than the mental hospital. Like, honestly, like I think if it just starts at the bar and everybody's just gonna do it.
That would be fast though.
It
You don't
would
know,
be.
like, their
I need to see
relationship,
that high school.
they
I need
burn-
to see some of that stuff first.
The place burns down.
I think what they would do though, and this is just me doing like the editing process here. They start it with that.
Didn't know you did that.
I do it all the time.
Oh.
Yeah, so they start the movie with like the whole, like they're already at the bar, and then like accuse the like flashback to childhood stuff to explain the relationship, and then it does the school thing, and like you know where
That
it's,
seems too fast.
no, it doesn't. I don't think.
I'm not about going fast.
I'm gonna make Nathan edit this, and I'm gonna show you, and he's gonna show you how.
You're not gonna make him do anything.
The guy who had another
Barely
quote,
make me upload it.
the guy who had sex or whatever, the one that you think looks like me, he even had a quote later on.
Your
It was
clone.
like,
Just say
that,
Mason's
that
clone.
was what would I do with the other 40 or 56 minutes or something? Because
Oh,
how
yeah.
long it lasted.
Right.
And he did the math and he lasted 4 minutes. I forgot about that.
And him like awkwardly trying to get the condom on, like out for so long.
Painfully relatable, but anyways, yeah. So question?
Yeah. Who was your favorite character? Can I go first?
Yes.
Your clone.
The lead singer, Adam
Yeah,
Brody.
Adam Brody
is an OC and I loved him in this
OC,
movie.
True Blood.
Oh
Can I
my
see your
God.
Pinterest page, buddy?
You don't want to. It's too gnarly for you.
No, it'd be his Tumblr page, buddy.
Oh, yeah, it would be Tumblr.
That's the vibe of this movie.
Oh man, Seth Cohen. Like this is a little bit more range. This is actual like good comedy. I think he had some of the best scenes in the movie,
Yeah.
or the best lines at least.
He got
for
some
how
good.
little
He got
had.
some good lines.
Yeah.
It's him and Amanda Seyfried by like a mile. Like, yeah, like his scenes are just great. Like everything in his scenes is just kind of like perfectly asshole-ish.
Yes, it is.
But like, I don't know. I just like looking at Amanda Seyfried. That's really my excuse.
Like he, the bar's burning behind him, and he's just like chugging a
Yeah,
beer.
just casually kind of minding his own business. No, I think like the one thing that puts me over on Needy though is that like they do the dumb like take the incredibly pretty girl and put glasses on her to make her not be incredibly pretty still trope. And
That's exactly what they
But to
did.
be fair,
Yeah.
this movie, all right, credit where the movie gets it is that this movie knew what it was doing when it did that. Like that was very like, all right, this is a 7-year-old joke because like the Not Another Teen movie did this
Not Another Teen movie.
did that
Yeah.
like 3 to 4 years ago.
She's All That or whatever.
Yeah,
Is
and
that
like,
Amanda Bynes?
Yeah.
yeah, and then they're like, but we're gonna do it anyway because we don't care how campy this looks. Nathan, favorite character? And why is it Chris Pratt?
Not really. I don't know. Like, I mean, I think Megan Fox's character was
That's
actually pretty good.
I was her hands down.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess if I'd give it to anybody, it'd probably be her.
Yeah, I thought so too. Like she just like she just does that line where she's playing this like alluring succubus like character so well, but at the same time delivering these hilarious lines in the most like deadpan kind of way that makes you think like she really believes it. I thought she was awesome.
And also
in
just
this.
very much owning, like, oh, I have demon powers now.
Mhm.
And it's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
watch me cut myself open and start bleeding.
And
it's like,
held
look, this shit heals.
held the lighter to her tongue. It was just
Yeah.
like, Needy, I am God. Or something like that.
that phone
Yeah.
call, and
Uh.
Needy's just like, "What are you talking about?"
I'm busy right now.
And then
It's
Needy
like-
puts her on hold, and that's when she like burns her tongue. And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, that's cool."
Uh,
That was a good question. Good job, Dylan.
Yeah.
Props to you.
Yeah.
Good job.
I don't know. Let's do scores. Nathan.
I mean, overall, it's just not really a movie that I was like all that engaged with.
Mm.
Like it has its funny moments. It has like a few good jokes that it cracks, but visually and otherwise, I don't know where that is now. There's a little kid running around with it for a while.
Oh.
That's our 10 button.
So yeah, I mean, I'll probably land at like a 6.5 on it. And
Nice.
I mean, it's good, but it's not like something I'm ever gonna go back and rewatch.
It didn't shake your world like Lego Batman.
Holy shit, Lego Batman.
To be fair, if you watch Lego Batman,
That
movie's fantastic.
shit's good.
That's some good food.
That's the Elmo coked out like meme where it's just like, it's like give me more of that.
Jennifer's body.
Oh, yeah.
Lego Batman.
This movie's not that good. I'd give it a 6. Yeah, this, I get to do it first because now I'm in order. Yeah, this movie's a very definitive 6. It's one of those movies that's like dumb bad. Like, it's dumb, but it's kind of like fun and it's dumb because it's trying to do that. It's campy. It's got some corny stuff. Something about a tongue-in-cheek joke with Amanda Seyfried. Megan Fox is like fine. Her delivery on some lines is like fine. There's at least all the main characters minus what's Whiplash's name again? What am I thinking?
J.K. Simmons. He's not a main character. He has like 3 lines.
Oh,
he's
a main-
in it like 3 times.
He's J.K. Simmons. He's always a main
He's
character.
like 3 lines.
He's the least he's probably ever been in a movie.
I don't know about that.
Like that character didn't need to be him.
No,
It
at all.
didn't.
It absolutely did not need to be him.
No.
But all of the like quote unquote main characters, I guess, like get at least one laugh out of me. They all have a line that's kind of like funny. But there's a lot of times in between where I'm like, am I having a stroke when these kids are talking? Like,
You can't understand what they're saying.
No, I'm like, this lingo is not even real. Like, this wasn't real in 07. I was alive in 07, and none of that was real then. You guys are not only making this up, you're making it up, like, with stroke victims and AI at that point. And at first I thought it was a little fun and cute, and then I was just like, no, I feel like I'm losing my mind watching this at times. But yeah, there's a lot of things that just didn't feel like they excited me very much. I mean, if some of the movie was funny, none of the movie is scary. It's all campy. And, like, I'm not going to fault it too hard for being that, but this is just a very definitive campy horror movie in a way. But it knows what it is, so I'm not going to beat up on it too bad for that. That being said, Hannah watched this and she said, and I probably agree with this statement, it's probably one of the better, maybe even one of the best, like, bad campy horror movies, though. And I'm like, okay.
It's weird
It
criteria.
depends on how like horror you want to call it, because like
Right,
I would consider
right.
like Final Destination or like some of those.
Oh,
movies
this
as,
definitely
like,
goes in that bin of, like,
yeah,
movies, yeah.
Which, I don't know. You go ahead.
And I remember when those movies were coming out like once a
Fire, yeah.
month.
And even this one is like 7 years past the point of no return. Like that was a 03, 04 run, and then this is 3 years later.
Yeah.
So I think it's very strange. But as a time capsule of it, I don't know. I remember there was somebody making a point that they were like, this is a great thing for like awareness against sexual assault or something like that. There was a movement going on there for a minute about something like that, and I'm like,
What?
No, I don't think this movie's
This
that.
movie?
Yeah, I swear there was somebody
Because
somewhere in the crowd
because
on
a
the
boy
internet.
gets pepper spray for female.
I don't know. Maybe because they like go back and kill the band, but
Mason's
God,
clone.
Mom, this is women's pepper spray.
right. For the record, I'm glad they went back and killed the band, because if the band made it through it totally unfazed, I was going to be like, huh.
They didn't necessarily. Oh, they did because of the
very,
after
very
credits.
end. Yeah, the
Oh,
after
yeah.
credits.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
they get killed in the
Yeah,
after
they,
credits.
they did.
Yeah.
Well, the best payoff was like whenever she got into the car, whenever she was hitchhiking, it said low shoulder on the right. Did you
Yeah, I
guys catch
did see that.
Yeah.
There's a sign that's right around the road we drive home, and I'm like, you see that sign? And I told that to Hannah, and she was like, well, no, what did it say? And I said, it's low shoulder.
Low shoulder,
And then
of
she-
course.
And the whole thing where the guy's like, "Oh, where are you going?" She's like, "Oh, I'm going to see a show. It's
It's
gonna
their
be
last
their
one.
last
Yeah.
performance."
3.
Yeah.
Kill and execution.
Like
but,
that. That's great.
Yeah, there are some one-liners that were solid.
Yeah, but this movie's definitely not climbing above a 6 for me. Or probably Mason. Mason?
6 for me.
For
For some of the movies
Hey,
that
we
we could
got
also
666.
suggest from earlier, Final Destination, The Stepfather, Fright Night,
Yeah.
Disturbia, all of these movies are roughly the same house.
What's that one with Pete Davidson that just came out? I just watched it.
Oh, it's 3 words. Click, click, click.
Oh, it's something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't remember though.
Yeah.
Shit.
Sorry, I can't
Anyways,
get the fact
It's the
yet on that
exact
all of a
same
sudden.
shit.
It doesn't
In fact,
matter.
that's a good movie.
In fact, it is a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah, but like the only issue is all of those movies I consider better than this because they at least stay in line with the format.
They double down on
they
their
do,
thing. Right,
and like
right.
it might feel cheesy at times, but it doesn't feel cheesy the entire time.
Right.
And that is my biggest disconnect for this movie because like where this movie like really thrives is where some of those one-liners hit. Or when like they actually lean into some of the gore, but they didn't do enough of either of that. They were just skirting along. Hey, remember this is campy. Hey, remember. Hey, and then
This movie's
that's where I was.
surprisingly safe for the content, right?
Well,
Like,
you nailed it earlier. It's not a rated R movie.
Right,
No, it
PG-13 is
I
very fair.
almost wonder if like this was around a time where they wanted it to be rated
Right,
R because
like-
they were also trying to sell it on sexuality.
the bad
have
press
it
puts
rated
it over.
R.
Mhm.
In order to get people to think, oh, I'm going to go to this movie and I'm
Megan
going
Fox
to
is
see
gonna
I'm gonna
make
see
it
Megan
all.
Fox's tits and
And there
ass.
was one instance where she almost showed like frontal a little bit, and it
Yeah,
was in the
she
woods.
zips down with the guy with the football player, and,
and
you
it
get
was so
you
baity.
get wide
It was
cleavage.
so baity.
Well,
And-
and I think that's also why they had it to where it's just like, oh, she's going to, and then she just eviscerates it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like all of this to me was very much like trying to play on like messing with somebody's expectations of this movie
True.
going in, you know.
Yeah, all that being said, it does have a banger song, which Price has not mentioned enough. I'm sure he will in a second. It's got a pretty fun premise, but yeah, it's just a 6 for me. I think it's all right, but that's about it.
It seems like you all are wanting more of the horror aspect of the horror
I
comedy.
wanted to pick a lane and go more into whatever lane it goes
comedy. Like it is like
But it's
the
not-
You
whole
can,
time.
you
Like
can
it
watch Ready or
rips up.
Not. You
It
can
goes
watch
there.
so many movies that
Yeah.
do this so much better.
in. Game Night's a better.
Adam Brody is in Ready or
Game
Not.
night.
Perfect example.
Rachel McAdams.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
I think this movie definitely is a product of a very exact like moment in time. And
Yeah,
like,
this is a very
this
07
is like
movie
the
for that
culmination
reason.
of a whole
Judd
lot of
Apatow,
factors.
Yeah.
But horror.
Right.
Like this movie was made to exist right when it did, right at the height of Megan Fox being a like point of interest to a
Primetime
lot of men,
superstar, yeah.
Mhm.
and they got a rated R on a thing that didn't need a rated R,
Mhm.
and they hyped it up with sexuality the whole way through, and then they pull the rug on everybody by having her kill people.
Would you
and
say
tear
it's a
them
season
apart.
8 of Game of Thrones situation where they really hype it up?
Right.
They bring in all the baddies.
I
they're
need
all
arguments
gonna-
of season 7
because
of
you
Game of
see,
Thrones.
they like I think this movie intended to do exactly what it did, and I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like
True.
for that in those
Every bit
ways,
of
I
it's-
think it did exactly what they set out to do in a really good way.
Right. Every bit of it's like painfully intentional because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this seems like a mistake, but you're like, no, we did this to bait people. Like,
Which is why this movie works so much for me. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, horror's not my genre, and this is like horror comedy, which I do like. And they leaned more into the comedy aspect. Like, nothing,
Oh, yeah.
nothing.
Thanks Killing did more.
Not really any,
Honestly,
which is why I
yeah.
love that movie.
Yeah.
But like that's why like horror's just not my genre, and I don't really care. Like nothing's really gonna scare me at this point. I don't even know like what it could do to really freak me out. But like
Get the pepper
that's why like
Just-
give me
just get
comedy.
Sinister going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've been scared.
Yeah,
just
you're
just
one.
get just
We
give
can
me
scare you.
just give me comedy. Like
Spook 'em.
you can make me laugh, but it's not gonna like scare me. Like even the part where she's like eating the emo guy. Like that was probably the scariest part in here, and I thought that was fine. Everything else in it, I love the one-liners. I love the kind of tone it's going for. I loved all the cast. I mean, new perspective brought me into the movie, which I kind of think it's funny that they kind of like introed the song a little bit because like Mason's clone is getting ready for getting ready for the ball, and like it's playing in his headphones or something. And then he like the scene transitions, and that's when it fully comes on and really plays.
Yeah.
So I think they knew what they had there because that's the reason I came to the movie. But it's not one of my favorites. Not really going to push it that high, but still, it's a 7.5 for me. I really enjoyed this movie. Like I said, J.K. Simmons, I just put him on the wheel because it was a theme I had going for some reason.
I was gonna say if you really
Yeah.
liked his character in this, I was probably gonna kick you really hard.
Yeah, we're
He
gonna
just-
we're gonna take your copy of Whiplash and break it in front of you. Like
Twice.
He
Yeah.
just wasn't anything. He was just kind of like a cuck. Like he wasn't really anything.
He was kind of a soy boy beta teacher,
Well,
really.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say
Yeah.
he played the part of this teacher who's so cringy and like nobody wants to listen to him speak because he's full of motivational lines
Yeah.
and like he's I don't know.
He just wasn't
He's-
anything.
That was a
he's
trope
like
I did not
hippie
care
that
for.
became a teacher.
Yeah. The 7.5 for me. We're staying pretty middle of the road in Mason and Dylan's book.
I couldn't find it relatable at all because as a teacher, he didn't sexually assault any of the students.
That is true.
I didn't get
Yeah.
that vibe.
He
Yeah.
seemed like a very nice teacher.
Yeah, I've never seen one of those.
But he had a hook for a hand,
Yeah,
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He had a hook for a hand.
which
for
is
no particular
Never
reason.
explained.
Maybe he had diabetes. He was pretty
Maybe.
big.
You know,
You know.
Vietnam War.
Right.
They were giving hooks for hands around that time.
Yeah.
It'd be like Captain Hook.
It just goes to show, like, J.K. Simmons will do almost any part, because he's in Juno.
He-
It's a really,
he's in
like,
Juno,
random,
yeah.
fun...
He plays J. Jonah Jameson, and he loves that role.
Yeah.
Like, and he's great in it. We don't want him to ever leave that role.
I need to watch Juno again. Somebody should put that on the wheel.
Well, speaking of the
No.
wheel,
Speaking of the wheel,
this is it. This is
is
the
a-
end of the wheel.
The
the end of
last
season.
movie.
guys, we won't lie.
This is gonna be the worst movie I've ever had us watch.
What a way to wrap.
What was the last one?
Is
you
it
guys
long?
watched?
That was the
It's
hour-long
long.
one.
It's like it's
The
so
one
bad that
with,
it's
the
gonna be
teddy bear
confusing. Like
character.
it's gonna mess with your head, like
Yeah.
with just what is happening. Like you're gonna be thinking while you're watching this, like what is going on? Like
Okay.
what kind of movie is being made here? And it's so meta in its commentary that you're going to really hate it, because that's what I'm going to talk about is the meta level at which this film was being produced.
If it's that long, this will be second
How
screen
long is this
viewing for
movie?
me. I'm go ahead and saying.
Hold on. Don't tell me this is 2 hours, 30 minutes.
I
Or more.
don't remember. I'll look it up. Real
Look
quick.
it up real quick.
No, I was gonna look too while
I
you
was
said it
scared.
because I'm there.
I
You're
thought,
talking about the Wizard's Kingdom or something.
Yeah,
Nathan,
that's what
announce it.
yeah, Nathan.
Actually,
Don't
you know,
look
it's
it up.
only an hour
Leave
and
it.
45
Leave
minutes.
it.
Oh, okay.
Go
That's
into
not
the
long.
line.
Jennifer's body.
Like
But it's gonna feel like
my
3.
my recollection of this movie is that it is much longer in my head.
Okay, yeah.
You feel the burn.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is going to be Zardos.
It's
I
all
know.
those shoes in Spanish.
That's a ZARDOZ.
Oh,
Zardos.
Oh, no.
Zardus?
Zardos.
All right, let's see what's.
It's got Sean Connery wearing like a red Speedo kind of outfit.
Okay.
It's a post-apocalyptic movie.
Of course it is. That's on
Yeah.
brand.
There are giant floating heads that spit out just piles of guns.
Okay.
Hell
Alright, This is
yeah.
just America.
This is a very, very bizarre movie.
Okay,
Okay.
Zardus.
Zardos. I was really hoping
Zardos.
when you said Sean Connery, this was going to be League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Honestly.
I remember.
Maybe next season.
Or The Rock.
Believe it or not, it's not streaming on anything.
Ah,
Oh,
that was
Oh, man.
How are we ever supposed to?
1974.
Oh, that's on brand.
How
too.
did you find this?
He always does.
Look, I watched this movie like when I was a teenager.
yeah.
This is
I was
almost
about to say-
50 years old.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Ha
Yeah. You know what, Nathan? I approve. I'm just making weird choices.
The Lost
Yeah.
Kingdom was about 40 years old.
Which one was that?
The
Teddy
Wizard
bear.
movie that we
Yeah.
watched over at your house together.
Oh my
Right.
god.
The one with the gargoyle that was just like.
Yeah. That's Price's favorite part.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He made his figure.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
the kid's like, you want to see how I can do some magic?
They just flex it on her real quick. Look over there at that little gargoyle.
And I felt like,
For the record, I am 100% sure that is the same like bird head that they
Bye,
use
Jill.
to make things killing.
Yeah.
Bye, Jill.
no, Birdemic. That's the one.
No,
thinking
I'm not
of.
talking about the sound. I'm talking about like the same like head.
Oh,
I
like,
swear it's the same head used for things killing.
like how they pull the lips
Yeah,
in
they just
like
put
that.
they put a couple things. Oh. Yeah, it's very throaty, right? You gotta-
Yeah, so that's gonna be
So-
ending on a very weird.
High note.
Hi. Yeah, so make sure to tune in for our almost season finale. I guess technically we'll.
No, it'll be the end of the season. Again.
I don't know if we do anything.
Do we
Yeah.
do we end the season when we do in the wheel?
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah,
you wanted to
that's
do
what-
in the
that's
last
what
three
we've been wanting to do
seasons.
every
That's
time.
it.
Yeah, I mean, I was
We
saying,
just keep
that's what
making
we've been
more
doing.
seasons.
I will eat your babies.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, make sure to tune in for our season finale of with Zardos with the Z.
If you know, you know.
If you, I don't know. Please help.
You will.
If you thought that Jennifer's body was a bait of his sexuality, let us know in the comments below. Did you think that Blake Lively would have done better as Megan Fox? Do you wish that you were Megan Fox in that one scene? You know the one. And anyways, make sure to give us that big old like for the content we keep doing. We keep watching movies, sometimes against our will, to entertain you. For the love of God, please show us love. We keep
Help.
doing this. We're trapped here. Oh my God. We're on Final Fantasy content break right now because it's the off season. I may do Lord Kana content.
You may be back in season by the time this comes out.
Probably. That's
Maybe.
true. I mean,
I might be dead on another WoW character. but-
that's
Yeah.
true. Make sure to check out our other content. Nathan plays WoW. We might play Baldur's Gate here soon, but the fact if you're watching this, it's already up if we did. And,
So let us know if we want.
Let us know
Let
in the
us
comments
know.
below. Hey, you guys in fact did play Baldur's Gate. Loved your run. Hit the bell. See you next week for Zardos. Bye, guys.
Bye.
It's very gender specific.
Bye, guys.
Guys, is
Bye, fuckos.
that,
Yeah, we had
Go
that
watch
discussion.
Zardos.
Everybody but Ace. Sorry, Aces.
Dang.
Aces, don't watch this episode, though.
Trigger warning.
Actually, that's not true. Aces may watch.